Hi angels, welcome back to my channel. I know guys, it has definitely been a while. A lot has been going on. I have been renovating my house, renovating my room, reorganizing, literally everything. Like, I don't know about you guys, but am I the only one that just feels like they just need a refresher? Like, I just wanted to reorganize, audit, everything, and I kind of just feel like organized chaos right now. Also, my house has been in renovation as well, so there's a lot going on. We have guys here from early in the morning till like 5 to 7 p.m. so I have to alter my filming schedule amongst other things. So that's a quick update on what has been going on with me. Also, yeah, I have a little new setup going on here, kind of just adding a little bit of color. Nonetheless, I hope everybody is doing well. It is October. Wow, life really flew by. We are going for cute and casual vibes today. This is my little hoodie. I really like it. It's so comfortable. I know, I should have changed, but whatever. I think it's really cute. I always get a lot of questions on what lip combo I'm wearing. These are the two products that I am wearing. This is Milani and this is Fenty. And also, you guys need to check the description box because I always put what I'm wearing in the description box and people don't like to read it. Why? I literally have no idea. Anyways, Instagram, and lastly, before we move on, do not forget to subscribe, turn on your post notifications so that you are notified every single time that I post. Let's get on into this video. Guys, angels, today we are gonna be talking about something maybe a little bit controversial. I kind of just wanted to have a little talk through video with you guys because I think this is a really interesting topic. So I guess a couple days ago or last week, what have you, Jeannie Mai, if you guys know who that is, she is dating, I think it's Young Jeezy. Is it Young Jeezy that she's dating? I don't even know. But she's on this show called The Real where they have like a bunch of co-hosts who just basically discuss current events in pop culture or whatever the case is. So a video came out where Jeannie Mai was talking about how she wants to submit to her man. Now, this stirred up a whole lot of controversy that we will definitely get into because I am curious about hearing you guys' thoughts. I want to include this disclaimer. If you are someone that has a difference of opinion, that is completely fine. I think we are all capable of expressing how we feel in a respectable manner without getting a little nasty and inappropriate, right? We're all adults here on this channel. I want everyone to respect each other's opinion, and what I'm going to share in this video also, I want to emphasize, this is strictly my opinion, how I view things. This does not mean that I'm telling you how you should be living your life. I want to make that very clear because it's very obvious, this, far into the game. I can always tell when someone has not watched the entirety of my video because they will try and clock me on something that I've already cleared up by the end. So make sure you watch to the end. Should you submit to a man? When should you submit to a man? And what exactly does this mean? Let's get on into it. So I want to start out by saying that submission does not mean codependence. And like Jeannie Mai said, submission does have a very negative connotation. If you think about it, why would anyone get on live TV and say, yes, I want to be this person's slave for the rest of my life? You guys can't be that simple-minded. That's not at all what she was trying to say. And it just reminds me of the argument where people get upset that some women, i.e. like myself, want to be with guys that are providers. It is primal. It's just like how men are when they select their mates, right? These are not conscious decisions, really, right? Let's really dive into this and let's dive into the science of this. This is not a conscious decision all the time with men where they're like, wow, I really like this girl because of this feature, because of that feature. It's usually primal to them, where it's like, okay, guys like to be with girls that look young, that appear young. Why? Even if you are an older woman, if you keep yourself, well kept and you have, a youthful like appearance, like that can also attract guys that are younger than you. But just to generalize, if I may, guys usually like when girls have a younger looking appearance. Why? What does it represent? Fertility. Oh, okay, her skin looks soft, her skin looks supple, there's elasticity, there's collagen obviously there. And that's attractive to them because it's a primal instinct for them. Because what does it mean? It means, oh, this woman is very fertile. It's not an active decision like, yes, this woman is fertile, must impregnate. It's not something that I feel like is always conscious, but it's a primal thing. Hence why with women, I believe that normally, if this is the type of dynamic that you were looking for, it is primal to you, where you look for the security of how a man can provide for you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So anyways, back to the topic of submission. So I actually would consider myself to be dominant in my career and maybe a little bit even in my personality too. I am very sure of myself and I know what it is that I want. And I'm very ambitious. So yeah, maybe to some that may be intimidating, but nonetheless, that doesn't bother me because I haven't really had any issues, and I believe that there is someone for everyone. So this does not mean that because I consider myself to be this way, or I may be this way, that I want someone to walk over and I want to boss someone around and that I want to call all the shots, especially as it pertains to my romantic dynamics. What I have difficulty understanding is how people seem to be so black and white with so many things, when life does have a lot of gray. And yeah, there will be black and white things, but life is gray for the most part. Why is it so difficult for people to conceptualize a woman being dominant in her career, but wanting to be submissive in her relationship? Like, I've always been very confused on why people don't seem to understand how this can coexist. It's very possible. People in general are very multifaceted. Nobody is one way all the time. Are you one way all the time? No. How is it that some women want to submit and some women don't? Well, this depends on many different factors. This can depend on, more than likely, your environment, how you were raised. My friends and I were also having this discussion as well, where some of us grew up differently. Some of us grew up maybe in a single parent household, and some of us grew up in a two-parent household, and that definitely greatly affects our views on marriage, on the roles that we feel like we want to play in our romantic relationships and things of that nature. That's where a difference of opinion comes in terms of what it is that you desire that works for you. In order for a woman to even feel like they want to submit, they have to feel safe and secure. Women are not just going to be usually walking around and just handing over that power, especially people that are like me, where you do have a dominant side to yourself, and you know, whether that be in your career or whatever suits you, you know that that definitely takes time to unravel. It's not just something that you just give away to any and everyone just because you're in, you know, a relationship. That's not what I'm saying. Submission also does not mean weakness. In my opinion, for alpha males, they need to provide. That is their purpose. And sidebar, if you guys hear noise in the background, it's because I still have people working on my house and stuff like that. Yes, so this brings me back to Jeannie Mai's point, where she was saying she does make a lot of decisions in her career and things like that. And the last thing she wants to do is come home and have to call all the shots and, you know, etc. in her relationship dynamic. And I completely understand that. That makes a lot of logical sense, especially to someone like me, where I'm similar in nature. She also said that sometimes she feels like if you are in a dynamic where you are calling all the shots and doing everything in a household environment, guys are, you know, if you're alpha male, you're sort of going to feel like, okay, then what's really my purpose here? What's really my job here if I'm not really needed? Alpha males, in my opinion, do need to feel like they are needed, like there is a purpose for them. Oh, honey, can you lift this up for me? Oh, can you bring this upstairs for me? Like, And when she said that, I was kind of blown away. I kind of like left outside of my body because people were like, no, I don't agree with that. And I was like, what is she saying here that's just like a little touchy? What is she saying here that's so triggering for people? And the fact that she said she feels like if you do, have that type of dynamic, it sort of will emasculate a man, or it can emasculate a man in the sense where he feels like, okay, well, he's not really needed. And the reason why I find this so interesting is because I was having a discussion with, a couple of my friends, and I remember, a guy was saying, these days, he almost feels like women maybe have become more masculine and men, if anything, have become more feminine. So now you have this culture where women, especially maybe depending on how you were raised, if you grew up in a single parent household, which many people are, you sort of have this I don't really need a man type of mentality. And depending on the context, that potentially could hurt you, or depending on how you want your life to work for you, that could hurt you. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you are someone that wants a guy, to be a provider, but you are not giving him any room to do that, and you're blind to the fact that you are doing everything, you're choosing everything, but you want him to step up and be a man, then that doesn't really make sense, because you're not giving him any room to do so. I just feel like people have to really understand and identify what it is that they want. People as a society have to understand, why are certain things so triggering for people to hear? Why is it that we live in a world where when people are expressing what works for them, people feel the need to tear it down all the time? I see it all the time. If I say, okay, I want to date someone that's a CEO of a company, then why is it that people that date guys that don't do those things, okay, let's be politically correct, feel like, oh my gosh, so are you saying that anyone that has any other job is poor? Are you saying that you're better than people that have, let's get real controversial here for a mini second, okay? When B. Simone made the comment about the fact that she would not date someone that is not an entrepreneur, personally, I was not offended by what she said whatsoever. The way I perceived it was, oh, yeah, that makes sense, because she's an entrepreneur, so she wants to date someone that's an entrepreneur. Because why? You have the understanding that, okay, if she's out till maybe 3 a.m, or maybe she's up answering emails or comments or things like that till 3 a.m, you're going to understand that. If you were to be with somebody that maybe worked, a 9-to-5 job, which is completely fine. I didn't think she was bashing people that had a 9-to-5 job. At least that's not how, again, I perceived it. That was not my initial go-to to think, oh, because she said this, then that means she's bashing this or she's discrediting this. I felt like she was just saying, okay, well, we would have more in common if we kind of understood each other's schedule. If you are an entrepreneur and maybe you were with someone that has a 9-to-5 job, if you come home, super late, or you're up super late doing certain things, your time with that person is going to be limited, because let's say that person has to wake up early so that they have to be at work at a certain time, and they have to go to bed probably by a certain time. I don't understand how people turned it into, oh, so you're saying that people that work 9-to-5 jobs don't have money, or it snowballed into something that to me didn't make sense. But I also do have the ability to understand many different perspectives that I may not always agree with. So I can understand maybe how people wanted to draw that conclusion, but I think it's important, especially if you are on the A team here, to be open to knowledge and also be open to different perspectives, even if you don't agree with it. It is okay to agree to disagree. It is okay to have a difference of opinion and not hate someone over it. I just don't understand why people have to feel like if somebody maybe has an opinion on one thing, then, oh, that must mean that they are bashing the other thing. We can't be that hypersensitive as a society. And I think this is such an important topic, especially as it pertains to the things that I promote even here on this channel. Sometimes, a very small percentage, people look at things from such a non-progressive lens, I feel like. In the sense where maybe someone might feel like the way I view things are more traditional, which is okay, but what makes it non-progressive is the fact that it's insinuated or it's assumed that, oh, I must think that everyone else is just this way or that way, when that's not the case. I'm only speaking about what works for me, and I'm speaking to the people that agree with me or the people that are just open to hearing my perception of how I view certain things. That's all that it really is. So if we go back to the caveman days, right, where women were, you know, the nurturers. Guys, they hunt. And the women, they are, you know, gathering all the materials and things like that. Men were choosing, you know, women based on who they felt like was the most fertile, right? So this has a lot to do with your beauty and, you know, the suppleness of your skin or what have you. Maybe it's, you know, your shape, and they feel like, okay, this woman can carry my offspring and things of that nature. And then for women back then, what worked for them was how strong a man, you know, appeared to be, because it meant what? Protection of their potential offspring. It boils down to those simple things. Now, if this is not something that works for you, then that's completely fine. But I think it's very important, I want to emphasize this, that we don't bash people for either thing of how they want to live their lives. And I think it's important that we open up our minds and our perspectives and understand, why can't you be independent but still want a guy to provide for you? Why can't these two coexist? Why is it so difficult to understand that that's possible? So if you are someone that wants to be in a dynamic where this type of relationship works for you, that is okay. And like Jeannie Mai explained, okay, this does not mean by any means that, oh, this guy is gonna make all the decisions and that's it. He's not gonna consult with me at all. I wanna read something that I actually screenshotted. A wife should submit to her husband as a leader of the household, but not as her superior or tyrant. That means us men need to learn how to become better leaders and love and respect our wives in a way they can confidently submit to us. And a man wrote that, by the way. And I love that, because to me, it is a form of respect. It's me saying, I trust you enough to, you know, come together with me. We make decisions together, or even I trust you to make certain decisions, you know, as the head of the household and things of that nature. Now, I also want to emphasize this. Notice that Jeannie Mai said, when I get married, this is what I want to do in my relationship. This is the type of dynamic that I want to have in my relationship. As we have progressed as a society, I think people do get very triggered by that word. And also, in my opinion, I do feel like we got to be a little bit stronger than that if we're gonna say, oh, the message was okay, but she could have just used a different word. And it's like, oh, come on, guys, like, give me a break. We can't be that hypersensitive. At the end of the day, I don't think there's anything wrong with what she said. I don't think there's anything wrong with, maybe a woman probably does want to be in charge in their household, but you just can't really expect to have a dynamic where an alpha male is going to be providing for you if you're someone that wants to make all of the decisions. I mean, I could be wrong, but I haven't really seen it happen. There has to be some sort of balance where each person has a role that they are comfortably and successfully fulfilling. That's just how I feel, and that's what I feel and what I know will work best for me in a romantic dynamic. Now, when should you submit? I want to touch on this again. She was talking about when she is married, that is the type of dynamic that she wants for her household. So as it pertains to dating and you're not near that stage at all, there's of course going to be way more autonomy in the things that you want to do, and the dynamic will be different because you are not living with this individual, and you don't have to really consider that as much, in my opinion, because you have your own complete separate life. But when it pertains to living and making a life together, then that is something that you want to consider. So I did want to emphasize that and touch on that, because I feel like people might not understand when it should be relevant. And I also want to point out that it's important to have balance in everything that we do. We do live in a society where there has to be a lot of disclaimers, where people are very sensitive about certain things, or people will take something that you say and they will perceive it as, okay, well, you must mean the total opposite of whatever it is that you're saying. And that's not always the case. And I really just want to encourage you guys to have an open mind and always listen to what it is that people are saying. A lot of people personalize things and maybe they are not even aware that it's triggering them. So when you express yourself, or if I were to just say, I like to date guys that have a certain lifestyle, I want to date guys that have a certain job, or whatever the case is, you have to be honest. I'm not saying specifically, well, this means that I think that people that don't live the way that I do, that they are not good people, that, ew, I wouldn't talk to them, or whatever the case is. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm only expressing how it is that I feel. And just because I feel one way about something, that simply means that it works for me. Or maybe it works for you. That doesn't mean that I'm trying to bash something else that is maybe opposite, or maybe, contrary to what it is that works for me. Am I making sense here? At the end of the day, we have to understand you can be more dominant as it pertains to your career, very sure of yourself, but you can still be feminine as well. People can't seem to conceptualize how that could make sense when you use words like independent, dominant. It's like, ooh, scary. She must be, someone that wants to call the shots. She must want a guy that she can run over and push over. No. Not at all. Quite the opposite, actually, in this case. Actually, quite the opposite. I have a dominant personality, but at the same time, I still consider myself to be very feminine, very girly, but I just am a very confident person. I know what works for me. I like to have extreme autonomy in my career, and I'm very ambitious. That's all that means right there. It doesn't take away from, my femininity in any way. And I feel like part of my job is to kind of lead by example that all of these things can coexist harmoniously at the same time. Also, you can be dominant, but also be submissive at the same time as it pertains to your romantic dynamic. So I want to open you guys' eyes up. I want to get a conversation started in the comments. Let me know respectfully what you guys' opinion on what Jeannie Mai said. And also, if I find the video where she's talking about this, I'm going to link it in the description just so you guys have more context as to what it is that I'm referring to. With that being said, angels, do not forget that I love you and God loves you, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Mwah. Hold on a second.